Tone, it's time to talk about our big show in April. First, I want to give a big thanks to Schedulicity and to Cosmoprof Beauty for sponsoring the show.
In Maryland, April 7th and 8th.
That's right. So we're actually doing a show and classes, and we have the amazing Presley Poe and her friends. So tell us about her friends.
We have Blushing Maine, Sarah Jane Maples.
Who just won an AHA.
She sure did. We got Updo Guru, Casey Powell for those amazing bobby pin sculptures.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And from Project Runway, we have Jackie and Lynn coming in, and they're going to show some editorial work on the stage. And Lynn
Huge
does
fans.
And Lynn does the quickest updos in the world, so he's going to teach some of that as well. But then tell them what's happening right before the show.
Right before the show and right after the show, we have Johnny Cash Livingston doing some tattoo barbering, brother.
Yeah, and he's open for questions and stuff too. So, if you have any questions while you watch him work.
Yes, sir. Up close and personal.
Also, another big thanks to Cosmoprof for sponsoring the Shadow Presley Poe. And we're going to have the winner there.
Yep. Miss Stephanie.P. Hair.
Yeah, so you'll get a chance to meet her as well.
And a big shout out to our boy, Ben Mullen.
Ben Mullen.
Yeah, who's going to MC the whole event.
Can't wait to hear him. So again, all information will be available at PresleyPoeandFriends.com. Check it out. Check out the classes, and it's going to be a fantastic weekend. Hey, welcome to your day off. My name is Corey, and of course I'm sitting with my best bud, Tony. What's up, Tony?
What's going on, brother? How you doing this morning?
Super stoked. So today we're having Nina Tulio, like Julio, back on the podcast. And last time when we did Are You Ready for the Sweet Life, we got such an amazing response to that we knew we had to bring this brilliant woman back.
Oh, absolutely. And this time we're kind of attacking a little bit of a different market. It's all about leadership. And the knowledge that she has for our industry is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable, right?
It really is. Again, I'm super excited to hear what she has to say, how she's going to help so many people in our industry, give them just a lot of nuggets on how to just change.
How to do it, right?
100%.
Just how to do it.
Yep.
So today we're going to talk about leadership and how to hire and keep your perfect stylist and building loyalty within their business, right? Yeah. That's cool.
Yep.
Should we throw it over to her?
Yeah, because it's definitely...
We have no nuggets.
Yeah.
We have no nuggets to add.
We already gave you our nuggets. Corey ate my nuggets.
Stupid. So, Miss Nina, welcome back to your day off.
Hello. My God, I'm so excited to be here.
We are. Well, you heard. We're super stoked to have you, man.
Yeah, like the response that we received after your podcast last time was, just touching, really. I mean, how many people that was excited about, not only the information that you gave, but just how it's going to impact their business, right?
Love.
That's awesome. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right. So leadership.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
So leadership, I'm real big on, actually when I started my own consulting business, I really wanted to, my focus was just really leadership and driving leadership within the business, and not necessarily just for salon owners, but also for hairstylists too, that we're going to be leaders within the industry, right? And then obviously leaders are a big, create impact and also create other leaders. So I'm going to just kind of break it down a little bit in segments, but in terms of being a leader and not a boss. So there's such a different tone when we start talking about salon owners within this business. And, there's one thing to be a boss, because when you're a boss, you're dictating, you're telling people how to do this, go here, show up at this time, right? That's kind of, when you're a boss, that's what you do. But in this business now, and especially the way that it's changing and evolving, now more than ever, salon owners really have to step up and be leaders in the industry. And when we're talking about leadership, we're talking really about no longer about do this, do that, be here at this time. It's like, how can I inspire you? How can I empower you? How can I help you grow, not only behind the chair, but also just in life in general? How can I help you reach your goals? And then last but not least, I'm really big on one-on-one coaching within your salon business, but how are we going to do it together? So when you have that kind of mindset, going into it, being a salon owner, now you're attracting a team, you're finding team members, you're hiring team members. I think having that mindset, especially, when you're a commissioned salon owner, that's what it's all about. It's about really working together and finding a team that is going to work together like a team, but also then that leadership will trickle down to the team members and they'll start to inspire each other. So I'm just big on that. And I think it's shifting right now. And I'm starting to see a lot of salon owners really changing the way that they're doing business with their own team.
They're almost forced to have to, in the sense of this new growth of independent stylists, right? Because the old way is not, I'm not saying it's not effective, but there's got to be a change in the way you lead. And I love what she's saying.
Well, right. No, I mean, again, for the first time, I mean, listen, we have an East Coast perspective when it comes to this, but, for the first time in a long time, like as hairstylists, we now have options,
Right.
Right. Like one of our options is to stay in the salon, and another option is you don't have to necessarily. You can wing it on your own. Right? So I mean, and we went over that in the last podcast that we did with Nina. So there has to be this shift because kind of. I mean, we didn't really come with that. We came in through some pretty good leaders in our time, but there's definitely those rumors or those stories of like these dictatorship type leadership.
Right.
One of the most, I'm telling you, in terms of messages, DMs, people reaching out to me through email, salon owners reaching out to me, and the stuff that I'm seeing on Facebook and on Instagram, one of the biggest challenges for salon owners right now is attracting new talent and then keeping new talent. And it's the constant. I can't find new stylists. I can't keep my stylists. People are constantly leaving and moving and shifting. And so I think I mentioned this in the last podcast, but I'm all about, when you're a leader, you have to learn how to self-assess. And one of the biggest things that you have to do constantly is, okay, if I am constantly having stylists or receptionists or assistants leave my business. Now, don't get me wrong. You're going to have people who are going to move on and want to open their own business, and that just happens. But if it's a consistent pattern of stylists that are leaving, they may be, they're not happy, and, it's a constant thing. As a leader, you have to step back and say, what can I do differently? As the leader of my business, what can I change? What systems can I implement to empower my team, to make them want to be here, make them be part of a brand? When I've noticed a lot too, and even when I had my own salon, is that stylists want to be a part of something that's bigger than them. And it's part of the leader's job. In this case, we're talking about the salon owner, to cultivate a brand and a culture that allows that kind of environment. And so, if I'm going to give advice for a salon owner that's having some challenges trying to attract new stylists, the number one thing I can say, and you should ask yourself, is what does my compensation package look like? What am I offering that nobody else is offering in this business? Why would stylists want to come and work for me? And then what is going to keep them there long term? Because nothing is more frustrating than hiring new talent and then having them leave within a couple months, right? We know how expensive this is. So, in terms of your compensation package, I'm not just talking about money, because I actually did a study about 1.5 years ago, and I asked stylists why they were leaving their salon. Can you believe that compensation was like on the bottom of the list? It was,
Wow.
We're mentioning things like product. We ran out of product constantly. That was like one of the top 3. We didn't feel valued. We didn't feel appreciated. We didn't feel included. We didn't feel like we mattered. These are the reasons why stylists are leaving salons. And so for the salon owner, when you're thinking about hiring someone, you have to ask yourself, what am I offering? How am I going to continue to inspire my team and challenge them so they can continue to grow and not be the same stylist they were when I hired them, and then 5 years later they're still in that same spot? And then the compensation, of course, education. That was another big one, that stylists felt like they weren't getting education. And so what does your overall package look like that you're going to be presenting these stylists to? And then when they're there, what is the growth strategy? right? What does the growth strategy look like for that stylist? And these are conversations that you're having with your stylists. When they come on board, you're training them, you're working with them, and then you're meeting with them. I'm a big believer in when you have a new stylist, you should be sitting with them at least once a week for at least 15 minutes or so to check in, see how things are going. And then you're doing your one-on-one monthly meetings for about an hour. And then it's like, okay, now you're 90 days in. What does your growth strategy look like? What are we going to do to get you from point A to point B?
Love that. What just I don't know if this is on topic or not, but just popped in my head. Like, even if I was a young stylist, and I'm not, but if I was a young stylist just getting out of school, like, I would also be concerned about what that salon's Instagram or social media presence was as well. Right? Because if they don't have much of a, if it's kind of an old school salon and they don't have much of an Instagram following or social media following, then you kind of think that there's not that much of a growth potential there, because that's clearly how people are finding us now.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think it all depends on what stylists you're trying to attract, because in every demographic and every area, there are some areas that are not maybe as super social media heavy. And so if stylists are coming out of school, that may not be their number one, but there are areas that, if stylists are looking for that push and that notoriety and that recognition, then yes, the Instagram page, they're going to be looking at that to see what's going on. What does the brand look like? What are the stylists doing in there? How are they getting recognized? How are they getting promoted within that business, for sure?
Do you think it's about notoriety, or just even like clients presence on there as well?
Absolutely. And again, it all depends on the stylist's goal. When they're coming out of school, yes, of course, they want to be busy. So they want to grow their business and they want to make money, of course. But there's another side to this too, where stylists are coming out of school and they're thinking, how do I make it big? Like, how do I, they're coming out of school thinking, I want to be a platform artist. I want to get out there. I want to be on the big stage. How do I get there? So of course, it always has to do with growing their business and getting clients. But there are also some stylists that may think, I want to work with a salon that's really going to provide me access to and give me opportunities to reach my ultimate goal, which is being an educator or being a platform artist, whatever that means for you. So kind of handling that from both sides.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great advice.
All right, now to backtrack a little bit, like what, as a leader and as you're trying to grow these young stylists, like what does a growth pattern look like? What are you looking for? What do you need to do? And then on top of that, like what are those one-on-one conversations sound like to achieve those growths?
Love this question. So every single stylist is different. And when the number one thing that leaders should really be conscious of is what motivates that particular stylist. So let's say stylist A may come to me, if I'm the salon owner, she may come to me and I may sit with her and meet with her, every week, and I'm starting to get to know her, not only on a professional level, but on a personal level. And her growth strategy may be a little bit different because her goals are different, right? Maybe she is necessarily more of a conservative, she's a conservative stylist. She's not into being, the face of, her page. She's a little bit more laid back, a little bit more like, let's do the 7N bobs. She's that kind of stylist. Her growth strategy would be a little bit different than, say, stylist B, who would come in, really super aggressive, like, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be at this particular time. These are my goals. I want to make this amount of money, and this is kind of like, because every stylist is different, right? So her growth strategy for me, I'm going to work it. I'm going to push her. I'm going to really set that up because she just told me that's what's important to her. So everything's going to be different for each stylist.
On that note though, so how does a new owner or a manager bring in the boss aspect of the leadership too? So here you are as a new stylist. Okay, I understand where you want to go, but this is what I need as well. So, instead of coming across as a dictator, but how do you put your needs into that package as well?
So again, I think training is the number. Oh my God, training. I can't stress this enough because I feel like some salon owners skip over the training portion of it. And when you're introducing a new stylist to your business, you're going over handbooks. You're not just giving them the handbook and say, okay, read that on your own, because we know nobody's reading that, right? You have to sit with them and go over it. And then you have the job description and you're going over that. And then at that time, you're setting goals for them in terms of service sales, retail, so RTS, retention percentage, pre-booking percentage. So those are already being set right in the beginning, because those are your goals, right, for your business, because you're growing a business and everybody has to pull their weight. So it's not only just about the money, but it's also about personality. So this is what, I want in terms of how you're greeting clients, how you're, shaking their hand. Are you hugging them? We go through each and every single step. Consultations, when you're offering a 5-star plus experience and your expectations as a salon leader are as such, you have to train the stylist how to do that. They don't know, they're new to your business. So those are the expectations that are set from your side in terms of goals behind the chair, with service sales, retail, etc. But also, how do I want that client to be treated from start to finish? And so those are the goals and the expectations that you're setting for your own brand and your business. So they're not kind of left floundering. What do I do here? How do I treat people? Am I handing out referral cards? Do I do that? Does the receptionist do that? All of that is taken care of in the training process.
It's like coaching culture,
Mm-hmm.
right? And as a young stylist, certainly, think about when we were young stylists, we came up in a culture, so we didn't know any different until.
I like that. Coaching culture.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching culture.
I like that.
Hashtag it, Nina. Hashtag it.
Add it to the list. You did ask me about coaching, and one of the things that I really, really love to talk about, and it's something that I'm so passionate about, is that one-on-one coaching session every month. You did ask about that. And so there's a little bit of a systematic way. So when I'm working with a salon owner, or even in some of my in-salon workshops, we kind of go into this. There's a systematic way to coach. First of all, you've got to set the meetings up, same time, same day, every single month. You set them up for the entire year. And that goes also along with your team meeting that you're having, same time, same day, every single month for the entire year. And in a one-on-one coaching session, you would have their numbers pulled. So you're going to pull that before they come in, to sit with you in your office. And then you're going to do a comparison from last month. You're going to do a 3-month comparison. You may be doing a quarter comparison, and you're going to see where they are in terms of their numbers. And then it's not just about that professional relationship, but you're also learning about them personally. Let's set some goals for you outside of the business, because I believe that home life and work life run very parallel. When you're doing great at home, you're doing great at work, and then vice versa. So let me help you get set up for some goals that you have in your personal life too. And let's create a goal.
So would that be like, you can buy a car, or you can buy a condo, or those kind of goals, or are those the conversations you're having?
Absolutely. And for sure, we're having those conversations. So, and it's specific. Like if you tell me you want to buy a new car, I want to know what car, what color, what model. Like we're very specific on the goals that, we're going to be creating. And then it's kind of like, okay, let's create a vision board. Let's create a goal board and make it happen for you. If you want to take it the next step further, which is what I believe is taking it from an 8 to a 10, you help your stylist get out of debt. That's part of coaching, because we all know, we've been there. I've been there many times where I've struggled financially, and it's the worst place to be, right? Because you're so stressed out. You can't take care of yourself properly because you're constantly thinking about it, and then you're not taking care of your clients properly. So my thought was, if I can help my stylist get out of debt and put a plan together, they're going to be so happy when they come to work, and it's going to show in their work, and it's going to show in the way that they treat their clients. So we put a plan of action together to get them out of debt. And then we put a plan together on how we get them to buy that house or that car, or go on that vacation, or put money away for their college fund, all of that good stuff too.
That's brilliant, especially as a young hairdresser, and you learn how to get out of debt and teach them how to stay out of debt, and then put those, future wants in perspective, we're actually reachable. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
We should. I mean, it's come up a couple of times. It actually came up on Nina's podcast. Not was it Nina? Gina, not Nina. Gina. We're talking to Nina on Gina's Nina thing, man. It's like crazy. They're like twin sisters or something. but on Gina's about you know, getting out of debt, and like she used like the debt snowball that I would love to kind of like again do a podcast about that. As a matter of fact, if you're listening and that's something that's interests you, you know, hit us up on DM and like maybe we can make that happen.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Do like a debt snowball podcast. Okay, I want to talk. It's supposed to be short and I'm going long, but dude, we got to talk about the infamous team meetings because it's one of the biggest, and not just in, I mean, we hear about it in our industry a lot, but this is a concern or blah in every industry, you know, like what, well, I'll give you this. So
because it turns negative so quickly, it can, if you're not careful.
Exactly. So I'll tell you what we did in the salon that I thought was very effective is that we actually had like 5 or 6 leaders and we set them up in these little teams. So then we broke up the salon members and they went like team to team. So like if we had to give information about a show coming up, or if we had to give information about our retail numbers, or if we had to give information, we did it in these really small teams. We had like 5 minutes to relay the information. And then the staff would like, the leader would, actually the leader went around the room because it's easier to move 5 people than it is to move 30, right? So then the leader would just go around and they would just like give out all this information, you know, and that was really good too, because what else you avoid in that is you avoid that negative.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because there's not that talk back and forth and you only have 5 minutes to give out the information. Right. So kind of, it doesn't kill conversation necessarily, but it keeps the conversation in that topic and what you're speaking.
Right.
Anyways, so that's a strategy that we use in the salon that I thought was very effective, but let's get into it, bro.
I love that. So team meetings. Yeah. I mean, I always think too, if your team meeting is constantly turning into a negative, there's a deeper issue. And then as a leader, you have to, again, self-assess, but also it's really maintaining control over what's going on in your meeting, because it really shouldn't turn into a negative thing. You know, there are, of course, you want to hear what your team has to say, and you want to absorb the information, and not all things are going to be great. That's a platform for them to kind of talk about what they have going on inside. But I also feel that that's why it's important to have the one-on-ones, because that's when you're really going to get into, like, if they're not happy about something, they feel more comfortable talking to you about it one-on-one than like blasting in front of everybody at the meeting. Again, I'm all about having systems, and there are systems for having team meetings, and it's, you know, going in with positivity, you know, making sure that the scene is set. So having nice music playing in the background where everybody's walking in and it's happy and it's positive and it's fun. Maybe you have a snack or two, but also starting off the meeting with something, either that you're grateful for, talking about your wins. Let's celebrate your wins. Everybody goes around the room and celebrates their wins that they had for the past month. Starting off the meeting, maybe saying something nice to the person to your left. You know, these are just some ideas and how you can kind of set the tone to have it be a little bit more positive. And then after that, you go into the housekeeping items, and then you would go into homework. So I'm big on homework. I loved giving my team homework to come with, like, equipped to the meeting with homework, things that I asked them to do. And it creates a lot of conversation. So for instance, one thing that I maybe would give them to do about like a week or two before our meeting was coming is, hey, I want you to think of 3 new ideas on how we can attract new business. Or I want you to think of 3 events that we could possibly do to give back to charity this year. And let's talk about them and let's get them on the calendar. So that way they're coming with ideas, and now you're making them feel included. You're making them feel part of something. And you know, are you going to have negative meetings sometimes? Sure. But as the leader, you've got to be able to switch that around and have these conversations wrapped around, listen, we're here to grow a business. We're here to grow each other, and we're here to help our clients. So let's focus on that. If there's other issues that you have that you're not happy about, let's save that for the one-on-one meeting, right? Let's talk about that, you and I, because it could get out of hand real quick in a team meeting, especially if you have a big team. And then always in closing is closing your meetings with any questions, but also like, let's kind of send ourselves off with something positive, like a positive quote or something like that in closing.
I love that.
Yep, you're good at that too, Corey.
What's that?
All those little like positive mantras that you're always quoting.
Right, exactly.
I like it. You give me my pep talk.
Oh, it happens.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to give a shout out to to Sharon and Charles Reiser. They own the Temple Paul Mitchell School, and I'm going to give them a shout out because we were up there. We were actually we were interviewing Gino Stampor. If I can drop any more names, right? But we were interviewing Gino when we were there, and while Tony and I were setting up, before Gino was there, before they had their it was a Tuesday, right? So it was their like beginning of the week, and they went around the room, and every future salon professional, they went around and said, you know, what their wins were for the weekend and what they were grateful for. And Tony and I, like, we were just like wallflowers at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just like blown away with it. And we actually mentioned to Sharon and Charles about how incredibly awesome I thought that was.
Yeah,
you know,
set that positive just from the very get-go of their hairdressing career, right?
Exactly. And
in school.
It was amazing. And they all celebrated together with it too, right? And it was like, oh, I did makeup at, you know, like Sephora or something, you know, and they all celebrated. And then, you know, some of them got to do some hair shows and stuff. So it was just really, really cool and really, really positive. And I got to tell you, I mean, coming out of that environment, and listen, what Charles and Sharon do is unique, I think. But you know, if you were to come out of that environment, could you imagine being one of those kids and then going into like a negative salon environment?
Yes.
Like if you're a salon in our area, you have to to live up to that, right?
Yep.
You know, you can't go into the salon where it's like,
yeah, they're, you know, that kind of environment. So yeah, they're gonna want that. Yeah,
no doubt.
Awesome.
That's cool. Nina, dude, I think we just gave away some big bombs there. Yeah. I encourage everybody to go to Nina's to website. So go ahead and give the gratuitous plug, Nina.
So my website is 1nagency.com. So the number 1nagency.com. And you can find me on Instagram at Nina, the number 2 LEO. So find me on either platform, and I'm super responsive. I love messages. I love emails. I'm really here to help. So if you have questions, hit me up.
Nina, once again, the bomb deliverer. Yep. The bomb deliverer. Nina, thank you very, very much for joining us on your day off. Hey, so there it is. Hey, this is a message that we've been trying to bring, I don't know, for the last couple months, actually since we started the podcast. Hey, so if you like the podcast or if you find that it's useful, please leave us a review, a 5-star review on iTunes. Leave us a rating and a review.
But if you don't like it, forget about it.
Yeah, totally forget about this message. We also want to thank Sarah and Blaine from Pretty Gritty. Sarah and Blaine, they are a band out of Portland, Oregon, and we just want to thank them very much for allowing us to use their song, Pleased to Meet You, on our podcast. That's cool. I think you can find their music on iTunes.
Peace and hair grease.